Did you know that at the tender age of 10, a boy who would later become King QUANG was already leading a rebel group? Indeed, the enigma that is King QUANG begins with a tale of extraordinary childhood. Born in the mid-18th century in the politically tumultuous region of Vietnam, QUANG's early life was far from ordinary. His birth into a world of socio-political unrest, a world where dynasties clashed and the common people were caught in the crossfire, shaped his destiny. This was a period of history where the might of the sword often determined one's fate. And yet a young boy, not even in his teens, dared to rise against the tide. Leading a group of rebels, QUANG displayed courage and strategic acumen that were far beyond his years. This was just the beginning of an extraordinary journey. A child rebel who would later become a legendary king, QUANG's story is just beginning. From leading his first rebel group to ascending the throne, King QUANG was a force to be reckoned with. Born as Nguyen Hue, the man who would become King QUANG was no stranger to adversity. He was the third son of a poor peasant family, but this humble beginning would not define his destiny. Instead, he would rise above his circumstances and carve out his own path, one that would forever alter the landscape of Vietnam. In the late 18th century, Nguyen Hue and his brothers led the Tay Son Rebellion, a movement against the oppressive Le and Trinh lords who had ruled Vietnam for centuries. The rebellion started small, but under Nguyen Hue's leadership, it quickly grew into a formidable force. He was a charismatic leader and a brilliant strategist, able to inspire his followers and outmaneuver his enemies. One of his most notable victories was the defeat of the Qing army. Despite being vastly outnumbered, Nguyen Hue used his intimate knowledge of the terrain, innovative military tactics, and the sheer determination of his men to triumph over the invading forces. This victory not only secured the independence of Vietnam, but also established Nguyen Hue as a national hero. After the successful rebellion, Nguyen Hue ascended the throne, taking the title King QUANG. His reign, though brief, was marked by significant reforms. He implemented policies that improved the lives of the common people, promoted education, and modernized the military. He was a king who understood the struggles of his subjects, having come from the same humble beginnings. But perhaps what sets King QUANG apart is his ability to inspire. His story is one of resilience, of a man who refused to be defined by his circumstances, who dared to challenge the status quo, and who never backed down in the face of adversity. From rebel to king, QUANG was a leader who defied odds and changed the course of Vietnamese history. Though his reign was brief, King QUANG's impact on Vietnam is undeniable and lasting. His rule was marked by a series of transformative reforms aimed at strengthening the nation and bolstering its cultural identity. He promoted literature, arts, and education, fostering a rich cultural environment that still thrives today. King QUANG was not just a patron of culture, but also an administrative visionary. His efforts to decentralize power, reform taxation, and improve agricultural practices brought about significant changes, setting the groundwork for modern Vietnam. His policies, though radical for their time, demonstrated his deep understanding of his people's needs and his commitment to their prosperity. Yet, the end of King QUANG's reign was as dramatic as its beginning. His sudden death, shrouded in mystery, left the nation in a state of shock and disarray. The circumstances of his passing remain a topic of speculation and intrigue, adding yet another layer to his enigmatic persona. But even in his absence, King QUANG's legacy lives on. His contributions to Vietnamese culture and governance are deeply embedded in the nation's fabric. His vision of a strong, self-reliant Vietnam continues to inspire generations, reminding us of the indomitable spirit of this remarkable leader. King QUANG, a visionary leader whose influence continues to resonate throughout Vietnam, left a legacy that is much larger than his short-lived reign. King QUANG was not only a powerful leader, but also a man of wisdom. His intellect was evident in his words, which continue to inspire us. He once said, "A wise man learns from his mistakes, but a wiser man learns from the mistakes of others." Another profound quote from him was, "The strength of a nation lies in the unity of its people." These words reflect his philosophy and wisdom. In the words of King QUANG himself, When the nation is at peace, then the world is at peace.